Aye.
Kamer,
Aye.
Connor, Boyes,
Aye.
Hannah. All committee members are present except for Councilman Hannah.
Thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion that we accept the minutes of the previously held meeting.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Hearing none, the ayes have it. We have one item that is up for a public hearing this afternoon, and the process will be, we will receive a report from the Planning Department in reference to the conditional use request. After that report, we'll then ask if there's anyone wishing to speak in reference to the conditional use request. However, right before that, our clerk, Sarah Biviano, will swear in any individuals that wish to speak or may be called upon to speak. They'll be sworn in, open up the public hearing, take any comments for council. After that, we'll close the public hearing. Questions will be asked from committee members first, and then if any council members have any questions or comments, that'll be the second portion. And then this evening, we'll repeat that at 5 o'clock. The same process. The only difference between then and now is the committee will make a recommendation to all of council in terms of either passing the conditional use request, turning it down, or taking time to table an item for further study. So that's the process. And with that, Sarah Biviano, could you please read in the public hearing? Thanks.
Ordinance authorizing a conditional use to establish adult daycare services on the Ohio Living Rocky Knoll campus at 1275 West Exchange Street and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Mr. Antonucci?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. McGregor Pace Summit is proposing to construct a one-story, 1,600 square foot addition onto the front of the western building at Rocky Knoll and reutilize the new and existing 19,000 square feet on the first floor as an adult daycare through the Program for All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly, or PACE. This adaptive reuse is primarily an interior remodeling of approximately 19,000 square feet of space, along with the proposed one-story addition. The addition will be constructed onto the existing building and used as an entrance for interior circulation, a reception area, and staff workspaces. Building material will primarily consist of plate glass along the facade with aluminum framing and a sliding glass entrance door. An exterior steel canopy will also be included along the front of the addition to provide shelter for the entrance and drop-off area. The PACE facility will operate on weekdays from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and will be closed on nights, weekends, and holidays. Arrival and departures are staggered to manage traffic flow, with participants arriving by van or private vehicle each day between 8 to 10 a.m. and departing between 2 and 4 p.m. No new drives, roadways, or parking areas are required for the project. Staff and visitors will use the existing entry drive off West Exchange Street. The petitioner anticipates that the center will employ approximately 30 to 50 individuals. The small one-story addition and use of the first floor of the existing healthcare center as a PACE site is compatible with the current Rocky Knoll campus. It should not impact other surrounding properties any differently than the current senior living campus. And the planning staff and planning commission recommend approval, subject to conditions. Thank you.
Thank you for that report, Mr. Antonucci. At this time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone here that wishes to speak before the committee. Please be sworn in by Sarah Biviano, our clerk of council. Thank you.
If you're here to provide testimony for this public hearing, could you please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth? If so, please say, "I do."
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this point, we'll open up the public hearing portion and ask if there's anyone that wishes to speak to the committee. Please feel free to go to the microphone and introduce yourself, and if you could please provide for us your name and address. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Dave DeFrancisco. I'm with Heedy DeFrancisco and Siebold Architects. We're the architects for the McGregor Pace project, and I also have with me Ms. Jen Hayes, who is CFO of McGregor, and Mr. Tom Durbin, who's with Ohio Living Rocky Knoll, and we're here to answer any questions that the committee might have.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this conditional use? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, very good. Thank you for coming down. Is there anyone online?
There is no one online.
Okay, very good. Anyone wishing to speak in favor or against? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing portion of this, and ask if there's any committee members have any questions or comments. I have one, or maybe a couple here. What is, it says here, the PACE project. Can you elaborate just a little bit on that, Mr. Antonucci?
Yeah, and then obviously then the petitioner's here too, but this
Yeah.
is a adult daycare service, and so Rocky Knoll was originally approved as a conditional use, so changes in, additions to that campus require new, conditional use for that.
That was my
So this
second
changes it into a situation where folks are brought in daily for adult health care, daycare.
Okay, good. Is it healthcare, or is it, what other services are available within PACE?
Sure, I can try to answer that. It's 13 disciplines of care that are coordinated by the McGregor PACE program, including being your primary care provider. So there will be a clinic there for them to receive health care, therapy where they can get therapy. If they need additional services, they do have the adult day, but we also coordinate hospitalizations and other areas, podiatry, dentist, as all part of the health insurance plan.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. Sure. Thank you. Any further questions or comments at this time? From anyone? Okay, we're not hearing any. Again, we'd like to invite you back this evening. Please feel free to join us either in person or via Zoom. And thank you very much for coming down. This is a very interesting project. We obviously try to focus in on the actual land use itself, but interested in hearing more. So thank you very much for all you do. Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll now move on to the balance of the agenda. Short of any questions or concerns, I'd like to propose that we just move into the new list of legislation. Ms. Biviano, could you please read in the first item? I think we have two items, correct?
We do.
Thanks.
Item number 3 is a resolution declaring it necessary to levy assessments for public improvements and public services for the Downtown Akron Special Improvement District in accordance with Ordinance Number 100/2024, which approved the Downtown Akron Special Improvement District and the plan for services to be provided by the Downtown Akron Special Improvement District, Inc. for years 2025 to 2029, all when and where necessary, and declaring an emergency.
Very good, thank you. Is there anyone here to speak on this?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. This is the second piece of legislation for creating the Downtown Akron Special Improvement District. The first piece of legislation was presented, which was the acceptance of the petition and the instructions for the services plan itself. So this will be the levying of the assessments, or the resolution of necessity for levying the assessments, as the second phase.
Okay, very good. Any questions or comments from anyone? Not hearing any. So can you, I know that we're going to have a CDC, I understand, possibly located within downtown, correct?
Say one more time.
CDC, possibly located downtown, focused on downtown area?
Yes.
And so wondering and curious how that's going to match up with this.
Sure, absolutely. So the idea of creating a downtown development corp is one aspect of the work of Downtown Akron Partnership that's actually not executed. So in the services plan, one of the things that Downtown Akron Partnership does not do is purchase or develop property. And if you're a CDC, or Community Development Corporation, or just a development corporation, you have the ability to do that. So this assessment provides for marketing support, for programming, for neighborhood level business development, as well as the clean and safe work of the ambassadors, and also strategic planning efforts that are conducted through Downtown Akron Partnership, but it is not a development corp per se. So the creation of a development corp would allow for an entity to take on that purchasing or development of property.
Yeah, how would the synergy between the two work out?
So ideally, speaking from my own personal opinion, that they would be co-located with one another, so that the work, that strategic work and that neighborhood level business development and economic development that is done through Downtown Akron Partnership would work seamlessly with the work of the Development Corp. Okay. But a significant project, if you're talking about developing a large residential property, for example, or if you're developing, let's say, a convention center adjacent hotel, which is one of the things in the downtown plan, that is work that far exceeds the scope of Downtown Akron Partnership, but should be done in tandem with it so that they're all singing from the same songbook.
Very good, thank you. And I don't recall on the first piece, it's been a few weeks, I guess, since we passed that first piece. Can you provide for us, because I know we've increased the footprint, and there's assessments that's being collected to help fund the the partnership. Can we see some of that information? Can you supply that for us this week?
Sure, absolutely. Do you want to see the properties that are inside of the assessment? Absolutely.
Yeah, and how much? And,
Absolutely.
because this obviously would be part of that.
Yes, and it does, as you mentioned, it does include an expansion of the original boundaries, so the boundaries haven't changed for 20 years. So this would be the first extension of those boundaries going further south, as well as picking up a parcel on the east and then the north as well.
Swell.
And I'll also add that the petitions themselves, I think, along with the estimates, were filed with council when we took the piece last month.
Swell.
But we can send it over.
Good. Any other questions or comments from anyone? Consent agenda okay?
That sounds great, thank you.
Cool.
Thank
A
you.
recommendation for consent?
I recommend be added to the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? The ayes have it. Item number 4.
Item number 4 is an ordinance accepting a vacation plat for a portion of North Canal Street and a dedication plat for an access right-of-way on Beach Street and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Antonucci.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, committee members. Yeah, this is accepting a plat for a vacation of a portion of North Canal Street and dedication of an access right-of-way off of Beach Street. Recently, the Wheeling and Lake Erie Railroad removed the bridge across the Canal Street right-of-way and laid new track over the top, eliminating access to Canal Street from Beach Street. The railroad is now requesting the city vacate that portion of Canal Street and in turn allowing the city to dedicate a 20 by 250-foot section of their property to provide access to the vacant Ace Rubber property off of Beach Street. So,
Okay. Is that property, oh, I see it now. And that's the, kind of like the exchange, proposed dedication? Okay. I don't know if everybody sees the map there, but yeah, it describes it quite nicely. Is there questions or comments? Committee members, right? How about on this piece here, is a consent agenda okay?
consent's fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
Short of any questions or comments, is there a proposal for consent agenda? So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those against? Very good, the ayes have it. Thank you. Thank you all.
Our next committee today will be the Parks and Recreation Committee, and it will begin at 1:45. Those committee members are Connor, Lombardo, Hardy, Hannah, and Boyes. Again, that's the Parks and Recreation Committee, and it will begin at 1:45.